How is it going, everyone? State of Play has come and gone, and given that I went in with my expectations fairly tempered, I thought this was a decent show, all things considering. I like the surprise announcement at the end, and it's a PlayStation published game. Even if I'm not the biggest fan of fighting games these days and getting super sweaty, I thought that game looked awesome. Like, if you're into fighting games, that game looks tremendous. And Arc System Works are goated into fighting games, so the fact that they're working with XDev on a PlayStation published fighting game, I mean, that looks pretty badass. But we'll get to that. There were some other cool announcements, really third-party heavy. And that's what I said, you guys. For all of you guys wanting a showcase, the reality is first party is gonna be fairly quiet. They don't have a lot. We didn't even get the announcement of the God of War game, so hopefully that'll happen sometime down the line. It does seem like that's gonna be a title that gets announced, but there was still certainly some cool stuff. So the show opened with Luminous Arise, which I think looks and sounds fantastic. I think the sound element of this game is tremendous, so we'll see how that's received. A demo is dropping on that as well this summer. Pragmata did finally get re-revealed and scheduled for 2026. I think that game looks pretty cool. You know, it's a brand new IP. It's seen some development turmoil, so ultimately we'll see how that game turns out. One of the standouts of the event, Romeo is a Dead Man. It's Suda51. That type of wackiness and zaniness is right up my alley, so you know, I thought that game looked great, and we'll hear more about it throughout the rest of this year, and it is scheduled for 2026. Silent Hill F did get an update, and that is scheduled for September 25th. I mean, that's pretty cool if you're into Silent Hill and horror games. No Resident Evil 9 at this event, so quite possibly we'll see that at Summer Game Fest. Bloodstained Scarlet Engagement, thought that looked great. If you're into your Metroidvanias, that's gonna be a great one. Digimon Time Stranger, I'll do a full video on this, but that is looking fantastic and dated for October the 3rd. Cannot wait for that. And then followed up with Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered. You'll have a classic mode and a remastered portion where you can choose two different play modes. You can play it as a classic game with the original title, or with all the enhancements, fully voice-acted dialogue as well, which is great. That's awesome. You know, worst kept secret in gaming for a while, but finally that'll be coming out on September the 30th. You had a series of lower key titles, Baby Steps, Hirogami, Ninja Gaiden, Ragebound, that is, and Karen. They kind of went through that in a quick shot fashion. But yeah, some lower key games there. Mortal Kombat, The Collection, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater got a brand new trailer. I mean, that game is gonna sell itself at this point. I don't think I need to see any more of that, but, you know, we got a new trailer on that. Neo 3 did get a reveal trailer, and, you know, I'm not into my sweaty Souls-like action games, mind you, but that game looked good, and people love Neo, so I'm sure people are gonna be all about that. Astrobot getting 5 new challenge levels and new bots rolling out at the end of this month. Sea of Remnants, a Sea of Thieves-esque game, sort of Sea, that is being done by Giant Squid, creators of Abzu, Journey, and definitely has Journey vibes going on for it. That game looks great, and it was announced that it will be a part of the PlayStation Plus catalog, so that's cool. Also, a part of the PS Plus catalog, they showcased a little bit of FBC. I'm not gonna lie, I think that game's dead on arrival, but we'll see how it turns out. And also on PlayStation Plus, they did announce some Classics titles. We need more than this, though. Like, the Classics titles are an abomination. I think it's been one of the biggest scams in all of gaming, PlayStation Plus Premium, that is. And just because they announced Deus Ex, Twisted Metal 3 and 4, Resident Evil 2 and 3, and then Myst and Riven were already announced. But while these are nice games, you're talking about, like, a couple games a month. This is like the standard series of updates that should be happening, but because our expectations out of Plus Premium are literally in the toilet, they made a big deal out of these games coming to Plus. This should be your regular monthly updates. You've got such a significant catalog of titles to work with that one game in June, 2 games in July, and 2 games sometime in the summer, that's what you get. Eat up and like it, and keep signing up to PS Plus Premium. It's on sale right now, by the way. Look, come on, man. You can do better than that. Then we had the reveal of 007 First Light. Guys, I think this game looks fantastic. We're gonna get more gameplay and more insight into it. Love the art style, love the aesthetics of the game, like the vibes of the game. I think this game looks awesome, and I'm not a big 007 guy. I'm not a big GoldenEye guy or anything like that, but man, First Light I think looks great, and I cannot wait to see more gameplay of that. You got a little bit brief snippet on Yotay, but that is going to get its own deep dive state of play, which I think that's the right way to go about it. You know, Yotay I'm incredibly excited for, but just do a state of play around that. People are already mostly sold on it, that I don't think it makes a lot of sense spotlighting it on a state of play. And then at the end of the event, we did get the big announcement, Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls being done by Arc System Works in partnership with PlayStation and being worked on by XDev as well. I'm not into fighting games like that, you guys, but this game looks fantastic. Arc System Works, when it comes to fighting games, what they've done with Dragon Ball FighterZ and a lot of the other fighting games, taking these notable IPs and just creating aesthetically beautiful games, and Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls, once again, is that. It will be coming to PlayStation 5 and PC, which, again, kind of does showcase a little bit of a shift in ideology from PlayStation when you talk about their PC release. A game like Lost Soul Aside previously would not have gotten a PC release right off the bat. A game like Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls, I would argue, would not get a PC release right off the bat. And games like Stellar Blade, turning around that and releasing it just a year after the PlayStation release, when we were told in the past it's gonna be 2 years of exclusivity. I think that's a story to keep an eye on as PlayStation is moving more towards this multi-platform release. I think Yotay, Intergalactic, and these games are going to be exclusive, but these third-party partnerships are going to come quicker, and even some of the first-party titles. Spider-Man 2 was 15 months when we heard before, oh, 2 years, multiple years for these games, but Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls, I think, looked phenomenal. Just how they stylized the characters, how they did Iron Man with some of the mech mechanics to it as well. Thought that game looks fantastic, and a nice surprise announcement. Like, that's what I like to see at the end of a state of play. Something a little bit surprising, or something to elevate the notoriety of a game. That's why I was calling for Saurus, but we didn't see that either. That tells me that there's gonna be another major state of play by the end of this year, and who knows, maybe they'll even do a showcase by September time. But, you know, a fine show. I told everybody go into the event with expectations in check, and do expect a lot of third-party stuff, because PlayStation first party is gonna be mostly iced for a while with their failure of live service games. And thankfully, logic prevailed. No marathon, no fair game. Nobody gives a crap about those games. In fact, there is a negative perception attached to those games, so those games would just be clowned on during a state of play showcase, whatever. There's just, you shouldn't be reviewing those games. You should honestly be canceling fair game, I think, but nonetheless. We'll see how all of that turns out. I thought it was a fine show, and again, a lot of that is coming from my expectations being in check. There's certainly some things like FF Tactics, Digimon, Luminous Arise, Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls, and again, this is the first of 3 events. We still have 2 major events that are going to be relevant to PlayStation, Summer Game Fest as well as the Xbox Game Showcase. So what I said was, even if this event, you want to perceive it as a 4 out of 10, there's probably a couple games here that you can at least be like, okay, that looks cool. Whether it be Marvel, whether it be the Bond game, whether it be Luminous, whether it be Romeo is a Dead Man, whether it be Digimon, there's Final Fantasy Tactics, there's got to be a couple games, and then Summer Game Fest, a couple games, and then Xbox Game Showcase, you got Forza Horizon 6, you get Gears E-Day. That's pretty big stuff, but that'll do it for me. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments section down below. The first of the 3 major events, and I think, you know, it's fine. That's what I would say. It was fine, but your thoughts down below, sound off there. No remaster, so how about that? I think that's a little bit surprising, but again, your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.